Okay, so I guess you guys had some questions for me or something?
Yeah, the people who had the question, they're on here, so we'll give them some time.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, because a lot of people have been talking about me about staying. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me just turn that off. Sorry. Talking to me about, and about their court cases and all of that. And I'm just like, it's probably best to stay out of their courts, but people just don't know how to do that.
Well, I think one of the things a friend of mine pointed out to me today, and it's entirely possible, I haven't verified this, but he said there's actually four constitutions. There was the
Interesting.
1787, there's a 1789, there's one that was the 1871. Anyways, the 1787 one is the only one that has a preamble.
Okay. Yeah.
So when I say that Will Livingston, that ratified the Constitution for New Jersey, was my fourth great uncle, um, that's basically invoking that original Constitution because that one has the preamble that talks about for ourselves and our posterity. You know what I mean?
I see. I see. Grandfather.
Well, there's maxims of law that say that no civil law can violate right of blood, number one. And there's another maxim of law that says that that which is created can never be greater than that which created it.
Yeah, that's great. You're right.
So that creates a problem. And so, when the cops stop me, they say, Glenford, you're Glenford. And then they give me a ticket for a dirty license plate or something like that. In other words, they didn't know that it was me. And the last time I got stopped, it was the license plate light was burned out.
Right. They coming up with anything now.
Well, they give me a warning now. In this case, and so for the license plate light being burned out, and but anyways.
Yeah, like we was talking before, and the thing is, if you don't go in there, they're going to give you a bench warrant, right? And that bench warrant is just to get you to come back in there. And it's like, some people they don't need all that heat. They probably got other legal issues going on that if they do get issued a bench warrant, that could make matters worse for them.
Well, that's why I get a police report, and then I start filing felony criminal complaints for violating my rights under the color of law. This warrant is a fake warrant. It's not a real warrant. It's color of law warrant. And I tell them, look, if they stop me, I tell them that I have a right to see the warrant, and if you don't produce the warrant, then I have a right to resist. And and if you produce a warrant, I'll go with you peacefully. But otherwise, I'm going to resist. And then when I file the criminal complaints, I accuse them of attempted murder. And I'll file it against the mayor and the city council and the chief of police and all those guys. And I tell them that, and it's basically the idea being is they screen these cops for low intelligence and a propensity for aggressive behavior, and they give them a gun and they tell them to go out and do stuff they're not authorized to do, and that's suborning perjury and attempted murder because I have a right to resist an unlawful arrest with lethal force if necessary, and the Amistad. I don't know. You familiar with the Amistad case?
No, not the Amistad case. No.
The Amistad case was a case in 1857, I think, 1851, something like that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Anyways, it was a slave ship, and the Amistad, the slaves
Amistad.
revolted.
Okay, Amistad. Okay.
Yeah, the
Like the
slaves
movie.
revolted and killed everybody on the ship except for one guy. They didn't know how to
Yeah.
sail, and they said, "Take us back to Africa." And so the guy sailed in circle off the coast of Virginia until the U.S.
Hmm.
Navy found him, and they brought him and they put him on trial for murder. And there was two arguments. The arguments were if they're a slave, they're property. They're no different than a dog or a cat, and a dog or a cat can't commit murder. And either that or they were free men and they had every right to do what they did. And the Supreme Court said They had every right to do what they did, send them back to Africa. And so everybody has a right to resist an unlawful arrest with lethal force if necessary. And um, so I accuse them of attempted murder. They want me to exercise my right to resist their unlawful arrest, so they have an excuse to murder me. And just like they did the guy in Utah that they killed because he had his homemade plate on his car. You know,
Exactly.
that was about a year ago when that happened.
Yeah, that's what I keep saying. It's like that's why, I'm driving my mom around now, so I want to have something on my car just in case, I don't want to be pulled over by the cops, with my mom in the car, you know what I mean?
Well, I understand that. But they can't, that's an illegal search now. If they go and search, if they happen to stumble across you and stop you for some other reason, then then that's one thing, okay? But if they go and when you order that police report, it's going to tell you. It's going to tell you that they pulled up, they scanned your plate, and they found that you were had a warrant issued, so they stopped you. So that's a felony. Okay, if they
Yeah,
admit that, that's a felony. That's a felony violation of your Fourth Amendment right to be free from illegal searches and seizures. And so
correct.
that's an illegal search. So I doubt, quite frankly, that they're going to stop you for something like that. They might follow you until you fail to signal for a lane change or they find a burned out license plate light or something like that. You see what I'm saying? But
Right.
but until they do, um, they can't do anything. Otherwise, they'll be admitting to a felony. Okay, so that's why I always get the police report because they always give evidence against themselves. And I'll tell them on the police report I want a copy of their oath of office. I want a copy of their anti-bribery statement. I want a copy of I want their oath of office and anti-bribery statement of their supervisors and up to the chief of police and the mayor and every member of the city council. I get all that stuff just automatically. It's just an automatic, normal. I'm building a case against the bastards, and they know it.
Right. Right. And they'll know that. They'll know the signs because that's what they do. You know?
Of course.
Yeah.
So when
Sorry.
you do that, it's amazing. Um, I don't get stopped too much anymore, and I got to tell you, I go on the toll roads around here at DFW area, and there's a toll roads,
Right.
I did the Form 1020, and basically they don't even send me a bill for the toll roads anymore, and I'll do like 100 miles an hour on the toll roads if the traffic allows it. If there's not that much traffic, then I a lot of times I'll be going 105, 110 miles an hour, and no problem.
So when you drove to Atlanta, right? So do you have a license? Did they
Um,
they do they allow you to rent a car without a license?
no, you can't. I've never been able to rent a car without a license. I carry one. I actually went and got a Mexican driver's license.
That's a good idea. Like just get a license somewhere else.
That's
Well,
interesting.
the you can talk to me privately about how I got it. I don't want to talk about that on YouTube, but it was an interesting thing that I did, um,
Right?
and because I've never been to Mexico, and
That's funny.
and it's permanent. Says right
Right.
on it, expiration date is permanent. So I was
Nice.
figuring the reason I got it is because, in a worst case scenario, if things really go to hell in a handbasket here, I think, quite frankly, this is the last bastion of freedom. But if things really go to hell in a handbasket and I need to kind of just take a break for a while, then, all I got to do is get across the border and I can use that driver's license to fly anywhere in Mexico. As long as I have, the cryptos, especially if my cryptos take off and I can fly just with that anywhere in Mexico, no problem. And I'm go and hang out in Cabo San Lucas or someplace like that. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. That's crazy. Like, yeah, I'm gonna have to get the scoop out of that one, bro. What
Yeah,
did you
you
call
can.
it? Your foreign something that you had? I was about to write it down.
Foreign? What do you mean?
You said you had a foreign. Help me out here, people.
Driver's license?
No, not the driver's license. Before we got into that, never mind. I'll go. I'll look into the
I don't
replay and
remember.
ask you.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway,
So it's always good to have something so that if you ever have any trouble, if things really go to hell in a handbasket, you can get out of the country. Like if it becomes a real dictatorship. And but I don't think it's going to happen. I think that there's going to be some big shit that's going to go down between this year, between now and the election. And I don't think there's going to be election. I think it's going to be at a minimum delayed. That's what I'm hearing, is it's going to be delayed at a minimum. What I'm hearing is that there's going to be a power outage in the Northeast, and it's going to be, what I'm hearing is there's there's um, there's already a terrorist attack in Buffalo, New York. Okay, now Buffalo, New York is kind of interesting because that's where Niagara Falls is. There's a big power plant there, and
hmm?
um, and so what I'm hearing is there's going to be something that's going to happen, a terrorist attack that's going to take out that power plant, the generators, and about that time they're already talking about it. They're making noises about get ready for China to invade Taiwan. And did you know that almost all, like your computers, all of the chips, the CPU, central processing unit. Are you familiar with computers and how they work?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you know that the main chip, the main board, the main chip in a computer is called a central processing unit, and
hmm
that's the brains of the computer, and almost all of those are made in Taiwan. We've actually opened up or started building some chip factories in Ohio. And so but I don't know how far along that is. And we're going to start building them here. But other than that, we don't make them here. And they're all made in Taiwan. And if China
They're everywhere.
invades, sorry?
They're everywhere. They're in their cars. They're anywhere that has a computer has a microprocessor.
Yeah. And so they're all made in Taiwan. And if China invades, they'll have all that technology. And so I've heard that there's um, people there in Taiwan that will, if China invades, they're going to destroy that shit. Hopefully, before China gets a hold of it, because if China gets it, then that's like a big problem. Anyways, um, so the bottom line though is that another thing that China makes that we don't make anymore is transformers. These big transformers for the utilities, the electric utilities. I'm talking about a transformer that basically they had to shut the freeway down. It's like twice the size of a tractor trailer, and and they have to shut the freeway down so the tractor trailer can go down the freeway and move this thing to wherever they're going to position it. And there's some of those in Buffalo, New York, and they're going to fail according to what I'm hearing, and it's going to take months, if not years, to get it'll cause the power outage in the Northeast, and to the point that people will be leaving on foot.
Yeah, because like no one's taking care of the infrastructure, right?
That reminds me of the movie Civil War that just came out.
Right,
I
exactly.
haven't seen that, but but it's. I guess we're going to see what happens. And I've heard that the UN is going to be here this summer because of the Biden is going to cause some false flag operations. I think that might be one of them, and to the point that the
Right,
UN is here, and if
right.
you want to see civil war, then because what I'm hearing is that there's a bunch of old, Vietnam veterans and stuff like that from the wars that will say, and what'll happen is, I guess, this is what I'm hearing. This is a compilation of stuff I'm hearing from Cliff High and from psychics and stuff like that. But what I'm hearing is that China, about 33 days from when that Iranian minister, that Iranian president was killed in Iran, um, Israel and Iran are going to start going at it with nukes, and people will they'll start demonstrating all over the world, and there'll be a bunch of old farts here in America, from what I'm hearing, that they're veterans and they're old, and they just don't give a shit, and they're going to say, well, if we're going to have a nuclear war, then it's on, and I don't care. You might be able to kill me, but I'm going to kill some of you in the process. And those blue helmets make really good targets. And for what I'm hearing is it'll be all over the world when that happens. He said that Cliff High actually talked about it. He said there's going to be a lot of people get killed over in Switzerland, and what'll happen is some of these people don't know how to do that. They're just going to go out and do it anyways. In Switzerland, everybody has a machine gun under their bed.
Mm.
I don't know if you knew that or not.
No. Like, why is Switzerland full of a bunch of? Is that where all the criminals are hiding?
Everybody is in the militia in Switzerland, in the reserves, Okay,
good.
And so that's why Germany in World War II said, what would you do if we had 500,000 German soldiers at your border? And the Swiss said, well, we'd send 250,000 Swiss and tell them to shoot twice. and so everybody in Switzerland, you don't want to mess with Switzerland. Everybody's in the military. Everybody's in the reserves. They have reserve training, and so they all have weapons, and they know how to use them. And so anyways, Cliff High said
that was America. Before,
sorry?
That was America. Everybody, it was all about the militias. Everybody had the right to bear arms, the quote-unquote Wild Wild West,
Right. Supposed to be that here, but they're busy trying to take our guns away, and they're doing all sorts of crap because we, the people, are asleep at the wheel. But so
way too much bread and circus.
Sorry?
Way too much bread and circus.
Yeah. At any rate, so what Cliff High said is that there's going to be a bunch of people that get killed in Switzerland, a bunch of these New World Order types. He said that he thinks that
I see.
Bill Gates is going to get killed here in America. He's going to get assassinated sometime between now and the end of the year. He said that that there's going to be a bunch of assassinations and shit. And that's all hearsay. I have no idea. And
it's entertaining.
And
I mean,
it's
they don't give us the gossips anymore, right?
It's food for thought. It's the important thing that we all need to do is we need to be prepared. They're trying to cause a holodomor. There's matter of fact, there was a thing on Twitter here where some farmer was told that he had to kill 4 million chickens, and because they had the bird flu, and they wanted to, and so I went and responded to that on Twitter. I said that's war crimes by the Biden administration because they want to cause a holodomor, which a holodomor is a man-made famine, and so that's a war crime, and so again, you got to use the right words. So the point though is that we need to be preparing. We need to have food storage. We need to have a network with like-minded people and have equipment. If you know what I mean by equipment, and so that we can defend ourselves. And it's going to get really, really ugly. And so it's a matter of fact, Cliff High said that he saw in his data sets where something like 1,000 county officials get killed, and where it comes out in the news that so and so, the county attorney, found dead from a gunshot wound in his car, and that kind of stuff. You see what I'm saying? And it's my attitude is this: it's kind of sad that it comes to this. But you saw what happened with Trump. There's no justice in these courts. People are it's gonna be street justice now. And Cliff High talked about some of the street justice that he saw in his data sets. He said that he saw there was going to be something up in the Northeast in one of the cities up there, maybe like Pittsburgh or someplace up there. He said he saw in his data sets how there was a some migrant rapes a girl there, and the locals get pissed and they find the migrant and they kill him. And this is all on cameras and stuff. And so then the police go and find, one of the guys that was involved in this and charge him with murder and have him in their hotel. And the locals just get pissed. And they come out the next day and they're just, they're destroying everything. They they go and destroy all the cop cars. They're just destroying everything around that cop shop. And that guy, the guy they charged, gets out of jail. And the police are just destroyed. They just destroy everything when it comes to the cops. Wherever the guy is, and he gets out. And so, that's
the migrant.
That's street justice. You know what I mean? And
right.
So if the courts
the
courts aren't going to do justice, then they're going to get street justice. And so they
Correct.
better wish they get justice in the courts, because people see that shit and they're not going to put up with it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, that's what I said the other day. It's like you're seeing like another sovereign citizen fail video every day. That means people are going in there and like enough is enough.
Yeah, and they go and call you a sovereign citizen. Actually, the courts have ruled that everybody and everything not privileged is sovereign. So all it is, that's a war crime. Okay, they're engaging in war crimes when they do that shit, because they're taking reprisals against you for your political beliefs. That's exactly what it is. It's a war crime. So we got to start accusing them of war crimes, and because that's what they're doing. And so these fucking pigs, they're nothing but a bunch of pigs. And don't get me going. You're going to get me going. They're jarheads. They screen them for low intelligence and give them a gun, and they tell them to do stuff they're not authorized to do. And they're going to get some street justice too. I can just about guarantee you.
Yes, they are. I mean, like firebombing, but I think that all of this is to entice another war, just to get us back in more debt, and spread their pillaging, though. It's the same way they did with the Civil War.
Well,
because
I think
once they establish a war, they can suspend all laws, and then all rights are ready to go. They can kill whoever they want.
I don't know if you've noticed, but we're under martial law and have been for decades. So,
Yes, sir.
so the war is happening. It's here, and it's happening. And the sooner you recognize that, you treat it when a cop stops you, you're at war. Okay, you got to treat it that way. He's making war on you. Okay, you are the enemy. Okay, that cop stops you, you are the enemy. You got to understand that. And you got to treat it that way. You never, ever tell the enemy what you're going to do. Okay, they're already making war on you, and the sooner you figure that out, the better. And so
it makes sense. It makes sense why you would go after them for war crimes.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. It's war. The war's here. It's already happening. The sooner people figure that out, the better. It's under the Trading with the Enemy Act. You're the enemy.
Yep, enemy, belligerent combatants, and rebels.
Well, whatever they want to call you, it's all war crimes, taking reprisals for political beliefs, and you got to treat it like it's war, okay? And so you never ever tell the enemy what you're gonna do.
Silent wars.
No, you just execute.
But then you got to dumb down the nation first, so they're more into bread and circus than their rights, right?
Yeah. Well, that's why they're bringing all these migrants here, because probably half of them are military, and because they've been planning this for decades, and they know exactly what they're doing. But it's not going to work out for them. I think that we're living in Book of Revelations time period. And it's not going to work out like they're planning. I can guarantee you, America is like no other nation on the planet, and so
melting pot.
Sorry,
it's a melting pot. Everybody's here in America.
Well, but it's it's people believe in freedom here, and they're not going to put up with that crap. The same thing happened with the War of Independence. Okay, they don't want you to know that you're under military occupation, that this is war. If you read the causes and necessities for taking up arms passed by the Continental Congress in 1775, it says that the king has extended the courts of admiralty and vice admiralty far beyond their ancient limits to supersede the course of common law and publish in the use and exercise of the law martial. Okay, and we saw the miseries to which such despotism would reduce us. Despotism is a dictatorship. And so it's exactly the same stuff that's happening right now. You read the Declaration of Independence, and the list. It's a list of grievances. All those grievances are happening today, and the sooner people figure that out, the better. I mean, that's why they don't want you to be able to read when you come out of school, and they don't want people to know what's going on because it already caused. There's actually court cases to talk about it. And about what caused the War of Independence. And they know what caused the War of Independence. They don't want you to think that you're under martial law and that it's a military dictatorship. They want you to think everything's normal.
And you mean like a basic question, so we have 50 states. What is Washington of D.C. and why is it a district? And what is the District of Columbia?
It's not
a state. Well, that's just the capital. Yeah, but the capital, why is it the District of Columbia? What is Columbia?
Well,
I don't know, man. I don't know, man. They just want to go back. Man, shut up, man. The game's back on,
The courts have ruled that the District of Columbia is not a state under the Constitution and is therefore they don't have the taxing clauses don't apply in the territories, and the Article 3 doesn't apply in the District of Columbia or the territories, and but it is a state under international law. So they put you. That's what they're doing. Is they're assaulting you with the Commerce Clause. And they got to get you into one of their so-called contracts, okay? So that's exactly what's happening. And so that's the argument, is they're violating Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17, perjuring their oath of office, bringing the District of Columbia outside of 10 miles square as required by Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17. And I accuse them. That's why I accuse them of attempted murder, because and involuntary servitude, okay? Because you cannot enslave a corporation. A corporation is, by definition, a slave because it's property. That's why a slave is a slave, is because he's considered property. A corporation is, by definition, property. So it is a slave. Only a man can be enslaved. And so when you accuse them of involuntary servitude, they got a problem. And that's what I file a criminal complaints for: involuntary servitude, for peonage, for false and fictitious records, for all sorts of stuff. I mean, there's all sorts of felonies, federal felonies that you can accuse them of, and there's a few state felonies too.
And I see you go through the how they put your name in all caps. They put the zip code on your address.
That's the minor estate. That's all corporate. Okay, the courts have ruled that in National Mutual Insurance Company versus Tidewater Transfer Company, the Supreme Court said that the boundaries of the District of Columbia expands as necessary if you're a corporation. And they even, when the Kavanaugh hearings, I don't know, you remember the Kavanaugh hearings?
Yeah.
Well, they asked him, they said, can we go after a U.S. citizen in Afghanistan? And he said, yes, you can. So the boundaries of the District of Columbia not only expand throughout the states of the Union, they span anywhere on the planet, probably anywhere in the universe.
Yeah, as long as it's their property.
If you're a corporation, you're owned, you're property, you're a slave, and they can do anything they want. It's a dictatorship. They call it a plenary jurisdiction. That's dictatorship.
Right. So I was looking up Rule C the other day and the in rem actions, and it's all about, liens or interest in property. If they have an interest in property, then they have that quote unquote in personam jurisdiction, and they can interchange the two.
That's why you always go after them for the denials of due process. You challenge jurisdiction, and you bring up the denials of due process, and they always deny due process in 100 different ways. And so you bring up because when they do that, they lose subject matter jurisdiction, and there's all sorts of court cases, and you can appeal based on that. You can even bring it up in the Court of Appeals. And so you just denials of due process. You demand trial by jury, which means the jury conducts the trial. And the War of Independence was fought over that because the cause of necessities for taking up arms says it. And so that's the most powerful argument you can make is Article 3, the 6th Amendment, the 7th Amendment all say that you're entitled to trial by jury.
Correct. Yes. And I put a post up on TikTok today about that with Trump.
So
and I said, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So like I was saying about Trump, right? Like I put a post about that today with Trump and his trial. He got 30 convictions. And I'm like, was it a jury trial or was it a trial by jury?
Yeah, it was a jury trial, and his lawyers aren't bringing that up because they can't. Okay, the lawyers will never bring that stuff up because that'll get them disbarred.
Sure, but this is what I'm asking about Trump. Why does he have a lawyer that's not demanding a trial by jury?
He's letting his lawyers fight it, and there's nothing wrong with that. He's president of the United States, so that's a U.S. citizen by definition. He's got to be a U.S. citizen to do that.
Right.
So he's
that's
exposing.
True. So he has to have a jury trial, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's okay. I mean, he's fighting his battles. We got to fight ours. Everybody's got to fight their own battle.
That's true.
So when they lose subject matter jurisdiction, they got nothing. You don't even talk about in personam jurisdiction. That's a waste of time. That's extremely technical, and you got to prove everything you say. Subject matter jurisdiction is so easy to prove, and the denials of due process are so easy to prove. If they don't give you a trial by jury, that's a denial of due process.
Right, exactly. I got it on the transcript. I said I can't invoke the common law and have a trial by jury, and she just said no.
Well, there you go. Perfect. So that's a denial of due process. That's and they're telling you that. So I would file a petition for writ of mandamus and get it in the Court of Appeals. And if you build a good case, then the Court of Appeals will dismiss the case. And if they don't, well, you can always appeal that. I mean, that's the number one appealable issue, and that's fatal to them. They're never ever. You're either going to win or they'll never, ever admit anything about it because it's fatal to them. There's a friend of mine that filed 14 or 16 challenges to jurisdiction. He didn't have a lawyer. He filed all his challenges to jurisdiction. They denied them all at the same time. He hired a lawyer, and then the lawyer sold him down the river, and he was in their hotel. And as he hired another lawyer to handle the appeal, and the appeal lawyer brought up all those challenges to jurisdiction, and the court threw him under the bus. They said that because he filed these 14 challenges to jurisdiction, or 16, however many it was, and they failed to prove jurisdiction, they didn't get jurisdiction. There was no trial. There was nothing that went on, and they just threw him under the bus. And so now he's getting ready. They stole his airplane. They went and did all sorts of shit to him, and he's actually working with Randy Kelton, and they're gonna break it off in their ass big time.
See, that's the thing. Like, that's why to me it's so crucial to stay out of them courtrooms, or just try to stay out of there altogether. But if it's somebody who has planes and stuff, they're gonna come get you.
Yeah, well,
someone for like the average Joe, I hate to say the average Joe, right? And like nobody knows anything to do.
Well, that's the problem. Is all these bar members are going to make it way too complicated than it needs to be, and
right.
That's why I'm filing. I'm doing an original action with the Supreme Court, and I'm going to bring up about these foreign agents of the Roman cult bar members. So we'll see what happens with that. They're not going to let me necessarily bring up, all the stuff I want to bring up. I don't think, but I'm going to bring it up and see what they allow. And but I'm under the Article 3, Section 2, Clause 2. The Supreme Court of the United States has original jurisdiction involving ambassadors and consuls, and so I'm going to file a lawsuit against the U.S. consulate, the U.S. consul in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and for conspiracy for war crimes, for conspiring with foreign enemies to engage in war crimes against me, and I'm going to implicate U.S. Homeland Security, FBI, the State Department. I'm going to implicate them all and see what happens. And the lower court. I filed a lawsuit in the lower court, and they did. It was too long. They didn't like it so long, and they wanted me to pay their extortion, and so I filed several amended lawsuits. And they always said it's too long, and so they finally dismissed it. So now I'm going to sue them too. I'll add them because they could have done something about it. And anyways, don't get me going. You're going to get me going.
So like your pleading or your original filing was too long, is what they're saying, like too many pages?
Yeah, well, the original one was like about 160 pages, and I shrunk it down to where it was down about 70 pages. And there's no reason why that was too long, but anyways, so they didn't like it. They were just giving me a hard time, I think, and I'm gonna break it off in their ass.
So like, what do you say to the people who goes, well, if you're suing, some people say if you're suing them, right, their buddies are just gonna let them off. They're all bar buddies, they're all in the same club, or I mean, the fact that it comes out your accounts, whatever you want to call them, but to me, it's like at least getting, I wouldn't want to say justice because it's business, it's getting like restitution.
Yeah, they're nothing but a bunch of thieves, and they can't give you anything but fake money. Okay, they cannot give you. Exactly. There's court cases that talk about it, and so it's all business. It's a commercial transaction. They're just nothing but a bunch of thieves. It's all the UN. Okay, you got to understand. All these bar members are foreign agents of the Roman cult, and that's all there is for judges. And so it's all the UN, and they're just nothing but a bunch of thieves and pirates. That's why I say I'm looking forward to seeing these fucking UN pigs get here because I'm looking forward to seeing some of them turn up dead. And the American people wake up and get off their ass and start taking care of business.
It's gonna be too late at that point, man.
No, it won't. No. There, you remember what was his name, Hirohito, or it was the Japanese, some general and an admiral in Japan that said there's no way they're ever going to invade mainland USA because there'd be a gun behind every blade of grass.
There would be, absolutely. I've got a couple. I've got a couple myself, but
yeah,
I can't tell you the last time I've been in a gunfight, though.
Well, but really is you got to get the enemy to die for his country. You know what I mean? And so and the best way to do that is sniper, right? And one shot. Matter of fact, the best way, like there's ammunition. If you have the right ammunition, you can get somebody from 1,000 yards, and from 1,000 yards they'll never know where it came from.
Yeah,
and it's one shot.
Or a drone.
It's just one shot, and so they hear an explosion. They're looking around, seeing where that came from, and this guy drops over dead.
Yeah.
And then the key is
all the time.
The key is to get away so that you can come back another day.
You get straight Jason Bourne stuff,
Well, Jason Bourne stuff, I mean, he was some of that was snipers, but some of that was like real close up front, and yeah, you can get into that if you're really good with hand-to-hand combat and self-defense.
Right,
That's not something that I'm real good at. Um, you know, I don't know
yeah,
I don't know. I just don't know. And I'm not saying that I would do any of that. I'd never tell anybody what I'm going to do before I do it. I just go and do it. You know what I mean?
right. You keep saying that. Why would you broadcast to your enemy what your next move would be?
That's right. Never ever do that,
Even in even in the courts, right? Especially in the courts.
especially in the
That's a
courts.
that's a silent war. You don't even know that you're at war. You think you're in trouble for something you
You
did.
think justice is going to go on in there? That's the last thing that's going to happen there.
Exactly, man.
They're nothing but a bunch of thieves and pirates. And the sooner we the people, and this is another thing Cliff High said, is what's going to happen this year. By the end of the year, he said there'll be common law juries springing up all over the country, and they'd issue writs to the military sheriffs. Okay, all our sheriffs are military. They'd be issuing writs to the military sheriff to go and arrest some public official, and they'd go and arrest them and
Exactly.
put them on trial, and that's what needs to be happen. We don't deny them due process. We put them on trial, and then if they're found guilty, they get their neck stretched, because at common law it's literally an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. If you're going to go and perjure your oath, that's the death penalty. If you're going to sell people into slavery, that's the death penalty. It's at common law. The only real penalty is death. Um, and
If
and
you
so
deprive me of my rights under the color of law.
yeah, that's a felony under there, but that's worse than that. That's perjury of oath. Okay, and
Right?
so then you stretch some necks over that, and because they're getting off easy when they just get a couple of years in jail or a fine, or and they pay you off. That's letting them off way too easy, in my opinion. They get their necks stretched, but again, I would never deny them due process. Common law has to be the rule of the day, and common law is requires due process of law, and that's what needs to happen. And people need to, and that's where we, the people, are extremely derelict in our duty to convene our common law juries and put these people on trial, and know what to do, and then doing it.
Yeah. It like you say, it's a dereliction of duty. Like a few people told me that the IRS love it when you actually file your income taxes correctly and they can collect on that and start zeroing out some accounts, you know? But I wouldn't trust the IRS either because, I mean, these people aren't coming out and explicitly telling you what's going on. So they're intentionally keeping you dumbed down. They dumb you down through the school, they dumb you down through the entertainment, the music, you know what I mean? Everything that's around you, like the billboards, the textbooks, everything is a lie. You know what I mean? And it's crazy. And it's like when you start realizing that and you just want to voice it to people, they call you crazy. So then you back up into the corner, you got no one to talk to until you get on TikTok. And next you know, like, wow, everybody on TikTok is just, and some of it might be BS, some of it is like, wow, that it makes you think. And it's like, next thing you know, they want to ban TikTok.
Well, I think TikTok is communist Chinese, quite frankly. So that's why I'm really not too excited about going there. But that doesn't mean everybody on there is communist Chinese. But you just don't know what's being monitored and stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's, it might not be a target, but it's definitely a spotlight.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
I went to getting like hundreds of thousands of views a day to like now it's like maybe 2, 3 thousand. They cut me completely off, but I still got my followers though. So and it's like they want to make it seem like China is like the good guys in this, but they're all a part of the UN as far as I can see it. I say the same thing about Trump. I know people love Trump, but I mean, why wouldn't if I guess if he said the wrong thing, he would get shot on the podium, right? So he's playing. I guess he's playing chess with these people. But why would you even go and make a circus of a court case like that? I mean, he's got to know, like, but I guess because he isn't engaged in that corporate activity. So, man, it's just like, how do we restore the common law courts? I don't know. Starting to get like discouraged about everything now. Because, say for instance, I learned that one move, and then that's when the first nuke drops. Then it's like, oh well, I guess I'm not gonna be able to enjoy this.
Yeah, that's one reason that Trump, when he's actually still president, I think, and he is going to come back, and now he knows from firsthand experience how corrupt the courts are, and so I mean nobody better to fix it. And I really think that you know um, I guess we'll see, but
That's a good point.
he knows from firsthand experience how corrupt they are, and so he's I just
Yep.
I think I can't help but believe that he's going to have a special motivation to fix the problem. And I think my attitude is the number one problem is get rid of these bar member scum, and get back to common law courts.
Is anyone in the Trump family a lawyer?
I don't know. I don't think so. But I don't know.
That'll be good. That'll be something good to look into
I
because
think
he's got to know they're foreign agents. He's got to know that they're foreign agents. Any bar card carrying attorney is a foreign agent. Like, I mean, is he not bringing this up because it'll get a bullet in his head? It seems like he'll talk about everything else, but like when you get on that TV, I guess you just can't talk about everything.
well, again, he's talking about the stuff that's politically the stuff to talk about. You know what I mean?
Right. Playing the game, I guess.
Yeah, he's still stuck with dealing with the the
That's what
powers. He's got to deal with politics. He's dealing with political stuff.
I think
and he's playing
Jared
stuff.
Kushner. I think Jared Kushner, Ivanka Trump's husband, was a lawyer, but I'm not sure on that.
Well, and he certainly, they're both Jewish. Or Ivanka converted to the Jewish religion, but not necessarily, Jews aren't necessarily all bad, but it just makes me wonder, that's for sure.
Right.
The, there's the Khazars, those ones are Satanists, but I mean, I consider myself of the blood of Israel. And so if they're the tribe of Judah, then there's nothing wrong with them. But and they're doing what the tribe of Judah is supposed to do. But I don't know, and I'm glad I'm not the one that has to decide. But those
Right.
Khazarian mafia, they need to get their neck stretched.
And they're the ones that started it all, though.
Oh, they did, for sure. And we need to, this is one thing that I actually had a dream when I was in my 20s that I was president. And I'll tell you, if I ever did that, if I was ever president, I would, peace treaty. You want a peace treaty? And all we do is if we enter into some peace treaty, you're going to completely ignore it, and you're going to take it as an opportunity to regroup so you can attack us again. So there isn't going to be any peace treaty. Sorry, it ain't happening. When you're exterminated off this planet, then you'll have peace.
Right. So where are the people who signed? They're all dead now, and all of their descendants sold us out.
Yeah.
Any peace treaty that we signed, their descendants sold us out.
Well, they hoped that, just like the definitive treaty of peace of 1783, it says right in there is a firm and perpetual peace. Well, that firm and perpetual peace lasted for what, maybe 20 years, and
Right.
then they were coming at us again. The bankster thieves were putting them up to it, and
That's what
so
it was.
that's why I say the bankster thieves. There's no peace with the bankster thieves.
And those are all the Khazarians.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You about to get me going, Glenn. You about to get me going.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so say for instance I get caught with some marijuana, right? So this is what I told the guy. Look, I like some criticism, right? I just told him to because I tell everybody to file a bill of particulars. I want to know subject matter jurisdiction. I skip over in personam because they never honor it, in my experience. But when I ask for subject matter, I ask for who has standing to bring a claim against me because it's all claims defenses, right? So I'm like, who has a claim against me? And they keep saying the state, and I'm like, well, the state's not a live living party, and if it is, can you produce it? And that seemed to get me through that hearing. You know, it didn't get me the case dismissed, but it got me through the hearing and got me home, you know? And at that point, I should have a wide of evidence in order to go on the offensive now instead of trying to keep defending. Because if you know that they're violating your due process, you have more than enough evidence to bring a claim against them, like the war crimes, like Glenn is saying. But you can get that on the police officer.
You have to get a police report, and
Okay.
I don't do the bill of particulars. I think it's a waste of time. Um,
Well,
I
yeah,
just
I can agree, but it does get them dancing though. It might get you another 30 days to do it to get in there and get out, you know? Say for instance, their court case is coming up on the 20th of this month, you know, and they never sued nobody and they're not ready for that, you know. You understand what I'm saying? It's like some people they have no idea what to do, and neither did I. I was just doing what I came across. And the bill of particulars got me in there, and it got me an opportunity to see these people start dancing around in the courtroom to the point where they surrounded me by police officers when I was giving my testimony at the podium. You know, and every time like I objected, and I objected twice, and she got me out of there before I can object a third time. You know, and every time I did, they got a little closer. And then she goes, "Okay, sir, your jury trial is scheduled for such and such date." And then the police they started putting their hands on me to push me out of there. So when they did that, I just left.
well, that's assault. Charge them with assault. They touched you. They have no authority to touch you.
It's
That's
true,
assault. File
right?
assault charges.
Yeah. And I was going through your complaint training yesterday, right? So I'm gonna start drafting my complaints, but I want to make sure I do it the right way because I don't want to go through their statutory bullshit ways and fill out forms. I'm not filling out a form in order to file a complaint, you know, like that's crazy to me.
Just an affidavit. I mean, I don't know. Did I send you Word files? There's if you looked on my YouTube videos, then usually in the show notes there's Word files that you can download.
Now I got your exclusive content, so I was watching it from your exclusive content training.
Okay.
It, the Coinbase when you sued Coinbase.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's okay, that one. But there's other criminal complaints I do. I do since then that like Coinbase, I just accuse them of all sorts of things in one criminal complaint. And what I do now is I have separate criminal complaints for each crime, and because I want it to make it as
Mm,
easy as possible for the public officials to go out and investigate it. So each crime is separate, a separate criminal complaint, that kind of thing.
I see. Instead of putting it in like an 18-page document and sending it in there.
Well, it might still be 18 pages, but there's one criminal complaint for each crime,
I
and
got you.
some of them, it depends on what the crime is. I mean, a lot of these criminal complaints are interrelated, and peonage and involuntary servitude are very similar. Um, and so I might accuse them of both of those in one. Um, but then violating your rights under the color of law, that's related to it too. So I mentioned that in there, and conspiracy, and in that same complaint, but because they're related to it. But anyways, um, but I do it a little bit differently now, and um, so it's up to you.
Yeah, and the way I see it is like if any charge you got coming to you from the state, to me, I don't. It's irrelevant whether unless you murdered somebody, actually hurt somebody, right? Because they'll capitalize off of that too. But any charge you got from the state, like to me, I would just go straight for subject matter. And then you said like they lose subject matter once they don't follow due process. Oh man, so I need to I want to start going on the defensive because I'm tired of defending myself. I'm tired of filing papers to get answers when you don't get any. So, like the only reason I'm hesitant is because I'm filing it with their buddies. Even the folks down in DC, they're all bar card carrying attorneys, aren't they?
Of course they are.
It's like I can't trust them either, but they're all bound to the Constitution though, right? And they're supposed to follow that. I mean, this is all out war, man. Like if people don't realize that. People don't realize it until they actually go through that court case by themselves. Because, if you got that lawyer, and that's another thing I want to ask you about, right? You got that lawyer and some people are convinced that their lawyer are actually working for them. I got a guy in Virginia right now. They still have his lawyer. His brother's been locked up now for 42 days, longer than 42 days. They've been camping out in front of the jail and protesting for 40, it's probably like 45 days now. I mean, like what's stopping me from getting hemmed up in that situation because I pissed somebody off in the state or in the county that I live in? And it's all money.
Yeah. Well, it's again, that's the crux of the matter. Okay, you got to understand that's why you challenge jurisdiction, and they're bringing the District of Columbia outside 10 Mile Square. They're assaulting you with the Commerce Clause, the minor estate. Okay, that's exactly what it is. And they're assaulting you with the Commerce Clause under Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3, in violation of Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17. And that's fatal to them. And I mean that's the crux of the matter right there.
Right. And it's so blatant too, because when the cops pull you over, the first thing they go for is what's your name, or excuse me, do you have a driver's license, proof of insurance, and all of that. It's all stuff that's bearing your name and it's linked to your social. I mean, it's so obvious now. And if you don't give it to them, they're foaming at the mouth for it because they can't do anything.
What you do is what I would do is create an incident, because when there's an incident, there's going to be a police report. And so you say, well, so that you say what I say, okay, is I see emergency lights are on. I pulled over to help you. How can I help you? And then they say, we want to see your driver's license, registration, insurance. Oh, you're investigating me. Well, I don't have to give evidence against myself under the Fifth Amendment. And you get that on the record. They all have body cams. And so then they start threatening you. And so you wait until they go sovereign citizen, need backup, and then you start giving them all the stuff they want. Okay? But now you got the incident. Now you got the incident, and there's going to be a police report. Just a regular ticket. There won't be any police report. You got an incident where 4 more cops show up. Now you got an incident, and you got a police report, and you can order the police report, and you can get the names of the cops and the names of their supervisors. All the cops are involved, and start filing felony criminal complaints against them. And, like they say, shit rolls downhill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you could. So once they call the backup and the incident report is created, then you start just giving them what they want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like you're not. man, I'm so close to just getting rid of my driver's license because it's up in 7 days, and I'm not even gonna I don't plan on renewing it. I
Well,
need that.
I would go ahead. Well, I mean, yeah, I would go ahead because you got to have it's in the evidence you give against yourself. If you don't produce it, then they don't have it. Number one, and number two, if you object to it, then that inoculates you against giving evidence against yourself. It's inadmissible in any court of law because you objected to it, and so you see what I'm saying. And so then, and again, you build a case, okay, and you get the FBI to go over and talk to them and their supervisors and their managers and all these other people, and you bring heat down on them from heights they can't possibly imagine.
Mm, I see. So just have it. So you're legally right. You're legally safe. Like so. Is it under a trust? Do you do the trust stuff? Like, is your
Nope.
car registered? Nope.
Well,
It's all under the name.
the car can be registered under the name of a trust. My car right now has got a lien against it, and so it can't be. But your car can be registered under. That's immaterial. That's immaterial. And I don't set up a trust with my name. Okay, I set up trusts with other names. Okay, I do
Sure.
not. There's people that are setting up trusts for their minor estate. There's all these people that sitting there saying that you can get the money out of that account, and you're participating in the fraud. Okay, you can't claim fraud if you participate in the fraud, and
Right.
and you don't have clean hands. If you want some justice from the courts, you got to have clean hands. You're going and participating, you're feeding at that trough, then you don't have clean hands. They'll never give you anything. I can't believe the brain dead idiots out there that are peddling this stuff about how you can claim this minor estate and all that. It's a fraud. It's a lie. It was from the beginning. If you participate in it, you just legitimized it. It really pisses me off about the fucking brain dead idiots that are doing this shit, and people get in trouble because of it.
Right. Well, it's not a trust for in your name, but you could get it. So this is what most people are saying. You don't get it in your name, but you have a trust set up.
Right. I do set up trusts.
Right. Yeah. So, but that trust is over that minor estate.
No,
So if you need to you
no.
need to get caught up in commerce, this is how they're coming at it though.
Yeah, you know, I'm sorry, but I don't play that game. Okay, if you want to play it, you're getting in a contract with the devil, literally. And if you want to go there, then knock yourself out. But I don't do that. I'm not interested in getting in a contract with the devil. Okay, they're Satanists. They're diabolically evil. It's a trap, is what it is. If you want to participate in that, knock yourself out. But I'm not doing it. Sorry.
Right? Because you have like unalienable lights coming straight out the womb, right? At the end of the day, and there's a lot of people who call me and say this, like, I don't want to have to do any of this. And it's like, they shouldn't have to. I mean, it's all criminals that's enforcing it against them. There's all kind of routes that you take on the journey, and you want to soak all of it in, and a lot of it makes sense, but a lot of it's put there, just like dinosaurs roam the earth, and their bones is creating fossil fuel. Like, it made sense because we didn't know any better. And then you look a little further, and supposedly, allegedly, oil is the second most abundant fluid on the earth. You know, I mean, you find information all over the place, man. But to me, until you digest it yourself and process it, I mean, you're just going to be chasing. You know,
What they did
that's
is
crazy.
when you were born, they created a minor estate. The hospital went and created some securities and sold you into slavery is what happened. because anything that securities are property by definition. That minor estate is property. And it's found under Title 31 of the Code of Federal Regulations, Section 363.6. It comes from the Sestake v. Trust Act of 1666 is where it originated, and it was the Roman cult that was behind it. So it's satanic, and if you want to participate in that, knock yourself out. You're dealing with Satanists. They're Satanists. They lie, they cheat, they steal, and you want to participate in that, then you're getting in a contract with the devil, literally. And I'm sorry, I'm not doing that. And so the only thing I will ever claim about that thing is it's a fraud, and I want nothing to do with it. And matter of fact, when I bring this original action, I'm bringing up that minor estate because they're pillaging that account. That's pillaging, and from the fake money. And I call it fake money. It's full of fake money. It's not real money. It's fake money. And I don't know. Maybe you guys aren't Christian on this call or something. I don't know. But the Bible says that anything that's fake is a fraud, is satanic. It's evil. So I don't participate in that. Sorry.
It makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Now, so
and
what?
We know it. Sorry.
What I'm planning on doing is I'm going to sue them, and I'm going to demand they dissolve and liquidate that thing. And I'm going to tell them I don't give a shit what you do with it, but they really will have nothing to do with it. They'll have to give it to me, probably. I don't care. I don't care who they give it to, quite frankly, but they'll probably have to give it to me. I had a dream one time that I wound up with, an unimaginable amount of money in my bank account. So, maybe that's why. I don't know. But but I'm going to tell them I want nothing to do with it. I want it dissolved and liquidated yesterday. Yesterday, not today, yesterday. And I'm going to just dump on them. And quite frankly, probably what I'll do is they'll get me in their court, and then I'll punch their lights out, and I'll say, "Oh, gee, I'm so sorry. I thought he wanted to do a commercial transaction," and I'll go there with it, and so then, that's where I'll go with it. Quite frankly, they're nothing but a bunch of thieves and pirates, and anyways, we'll see. That's all I can say.
Are you going through that right now?
I'm preparing the lawsuit right now with the Supreme Court.
Oh, man, you say you're in Texas, man. I just want to come out there and just be your witness. You know what I mean?
Well, if I do wind up in court, I'll let you know. How's that?
All right, cool. All right. Anybody on the call got any questions for Glenn?
Let me see if there's any questions in the chat. I know that there was some people in the chat that said that there was chips being manufactured in Phoenix and they had worked there. And because we were talking about computer chips, they said they had worked there and at a facility in Phoenix that makes chips. So that's good. I hope so. I hope that we're not as held ransom to these foreign chip making companies as
right.
What I'm led to believe. So I hope so. I hope there's a lot of different chips in computers. And so, but the main chip, the central processing unit is a special chip. And I think those are only made in Taiwan, but I could be wrong. I hope that this guy that was saying that he was in Phoenix and they made some chips, I hope that that's central CPU chips and not, some video chip. I mean, there's a lot of different kinds of chips. There could be video chips for your exactly. Monitor. There's all sorts of different kinds of chips.
All over the house. But most importantly, the one you carry in your pocket too. Like there was I can't remember the name of the movie, but it had like John Cusack in it. And there's a point in the movie where, his phone died, so he went to go use a payphone. And then everybody's cell phone started ringing. And then everybody turned into zombies. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah, I can't remember. It's on Netflix. And It's the fact that all these phones have the same CPUs in them, the same central process units. Okay,
Yeah.
they're known as internal processors. They got multiple, and the more cores they have, the more energy they can put out. You know.
Yeah, that's interesting. Um, yeah, there's a lot of different kinds of chips, and so, but the central processing chips is what I was concerned about. And I don't even know if this plant in Ohio is going to be making CPUs. Well, my understanding is they will be. Right now, they're all made in Taiwan, or that was my understanding. Um,
Right. Well, they're not being made here unless the story about Phoenix is true, or whatever state that was in.
well, yeah, he said Phoenix. Yeah, that was Arizona, and I know Phoenix has a big computer industry there. I know that back in the 90s, I bought a 400 megabyte hard drive in Phoenix, and I paid $400 for it.
Nice.
Yeah, so yeah, I've lived in
And it's
Phoenix.
American made?
Of course, well, I don't know. It was like Western Digital. I don't even know if it was American made,
Okay.
but it was. I think it was Western Digital. Um, but who knows where it was made? But I bought it in Phoenix in the 90s, and it was like $400 for 400 megabytes. And now you can get like, for $400 you can buy like an 18 terabyte hard drive.
Right. So I'm still stuck on this fraud thing with the birth certificate, right? Once you find out that it's fraud, because your whole life you didn't know it was fraud until now,
Right.
you're not participating it by calling it fraud and then demanding it be liquidated and returned to you. You know what I mean? What if you went from that angle?
Well, you could. And I just discovered that it's a fraud. I just discovered that this thing exists. Um, but so you can't go there and expect to. I want it dissolved and liquidated now. I don't care what you do with the fake money, and I call it fake money because it is fake money. I want it dissolved and liquidated yesterday, and it's a fraud. It's a nullity, and sue them over it.
Right. And then you can just claim damages in the amount of whatever it would be liquidated into.
Well, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. It's up to you.
Well, I'm just trying to be like, I'm trying to get restitution because, I worked 20 years of my life before I was like, wait a minute. I said, wait a minute. Something's wrong here. And like I kind of always knew something wrong, but not to the extent that I know now, you know.
I
You watch
wouldn't.
the
Quite
conspiracy.
frankly,
Go ahead.
quite frankly, um, if they dissolve and liquidate it, they can't take it because and the government can't take it. You're really the beneficiary under that. That's why it's got your name on it. It's a
Right.
minor estate. It says right under their codes that it's a minor estate, and so they're assaulting you with it. And you can list all the times and places you got assaulted, and you can what you could do is you could say, the damages for that, I'll leave it up to the court, but I don't give a shit what you do with the fake money. I want this thing eliminated. You see what I'm saying? You could do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll leave it up to the
Yeah.
court what the damages would be, but I want this damn thing liquidated yesterday.
Well, you should be able to come up with your own damages, though. I mean,
Well, would you
itemized,
want it?
of course.
I wouldn't.
I see. It's kind of like that 1020 where you tell them what do you think I owe you? You know,
Tell me what to
but
pay. Yeah.
right, right.
There's
Tell me what to pay,
there's
and they
there's a
can't do it.
there's a guy, the only guy that I know that did a bond and didn't go to jail. The only guy that I know that did a bond and didn't go to jail, what he did is he left it blank. And he said, put in a cover letter and said, you can just go ahead and put any figure in there you deem appropriate.
Right, because it's their property. They created it. You just have an interest in it, right?
Well,
It's
again, I don't admit anything. Okay, if you
right.
think about it, and this is why people go to jail, because when you do a bond, you're admitting the debt. You're saying, yes, I owe you this money, and here is payment. And if that thing don't work, or they don't want to use it, or who knows what, or you
Already
didn't
admitted to it.
prove
Yeah.
sufficiently that you have access to it, or that they're authorized to take it, or who knows what, um, then they want their money. You admitted it. That's why they go and
Yeah.
sell these people into slavery.
Yep. Well, people are doing it every day and they just don't know it. Accepting and agreeing and admitting. From the side of the road to the time you get into the courtroom to the time you make your plea to the time you sign the
Yeah,
plea
but what's
agreement.
happening there is the judge is making up a bid bond, a payment bond, all this other
Yes.
shit, and
Right.
so
Yeah. Of
he's doing that behind your back. And
course.
and again, when you sign something, make sure and put without prejudice there. That means no contract. And I don't care what it is. I've signed plea bargains. I signed bonds. I just print without prejudice there, and that means there's no contract.
Yep. That's why they want you to do this electronic bullshit now.
Probably, but I've even put without prejudice on electronic ones.
Well, last time I went to the DDS, they would not accept it. I plan on going up there tomorrow and getting a couple of applications.
To the what?
The DDS, the Department of Driver Services.
Oh, they
Yeah, I went
won't
in there
let
and
you.
I was recording the whole thing too. And I went in there and I said, "Look, I lost my license. I need a new one." And she goes, "Did you fill an application out online?" I'm like, "No. Do you have any paper applications?" And immediately you could see her clam up. She wasn't expecting me to say that. Uh, Right? And she goes, well, we do, but we don't really use them anymore. Well, I said to her, well, I need a paper application. And they kept rebutting and they kept objecting. And I said, look, I just need one. And she goes, well, we only give it to the elderly. And I'm like, well, that sounds like discrimination. Right. So then she ended up giving me the application.
So
I
what?
filled it,
Go ahead.
but
Go ahead.
so I filled it out. I ended up getting on the phone with the district manager. The district manager damn near cussed me out and hung up on me. Yeah. I should have been able to record that, but I only had my phone on me and I don't have a recorder on my phone. When I got to the counter, like they kept saying that, they kept telling me that, you can sign the document or the application, but they kept saying you're going to sign it electronically. And I was like, you just gonna tell me what I'm gonna do? No, I said, like, I'd like to see what I'm signing. So I want to see the application that I'm signing, right? She said, that's fine, sir, but you have to sign the electronic signature. And I was like, so, can I get that whatever document that electronic signature is going on? I need a copy of that. And they went back to the back. I called the manager. It was to the point where I just left because they were not going to do it. They just didn't do it. And I didn't have any codes or anything I can really rebut with. I just came with concepts, right? Like I just want to have the original document that I signed. That's it for my records. And they would not let me do it.
Well, that's interesting. They used to have forced electronic filing with the courts, and I filed criminal complaints against them.
That's cool.
And
That's
now
real
all of
cool.
that's changed.
Yeah, you was going through a bunch of stories on how things was changing around you the last time we spoke.
Yeah, well, again, you what you do is you it's color of law.
Right.
It's forced electronic filing, and then they require stuff that like for example a social security number, which is um, um, that's a felony to compel the disclosure of a social security number. So I accuse them of that. You see what I'm saying?
Correct. So like, yeah, because I need to get my so you didn't have to give up any of that when you got your driver's license?
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, I did. Yeah, when I got, and now it's in their system, and so I'm stuck. But
Right.
I never bring that out. Okay, I never bring
The
it out.
driver's,
If
yeah,
I bring one out, I bring out the Mexican driver's license.
right. So that's what I'm trying to do now. Monday, I want to sign up for an international driver's license. And if they ask for a driver's license, I'll give them that because technically I am international. I'm outside the jurisdiction,
Well,
right? Well,
international, the rules for that is you it only is good outside the jurisdiction where you live. In other words, you
that's
can take an international driver's license to Europe and it'll
right.
work over there, or South America or Mexico. Um, I wouldn't use one of those, quite frankly. I
Uh-huh.
think that's not what people are saying. Oh yeah, this is a be all and do all and end all of everything. And I think it's again more patriot mythology. People are peddling this stuff. People are getting clickbait. They want.
Yeah,
They're trying to sell their videos. They don't give a shit about anything. They're just trying to sell their videos. The
yeah.
stuff I put out there is stuff that I've actually done, and I don't. It's not an unproven theory. I some of the stuff like the bill of particulars, I wouldn't do it. I've done it, and they give you a hard time. And what you got to do is you got to confront them in court and demand an answer to it. And
Yes, that's what I keep telling people. That's what I had. That's what I didn't do. I allowed them to move past it.
yeah,
But
exactly.
in filing it, I got to see them start dancing in the courtroom. They was literally dancing. Well, not literally, but they was dancing around my bill of particulars, and that's the
Squirming.
only reason. What's that?
They were squirming.
Yeah, because look, we're live on Facebook, but I would love to show you the footage of it. It's crazy.
Well, they definitely squirm when you bring up the right issues and confront them and make them. That's why I do the challenge to jurisdiction, and I want a ruling, and I'll even bring an order in for the judge to sign, and I'll have two orders, one approved and one denied, and so then I get it in writing. So then there's my mandamus. You know what I mean?
Ah,
But
nice.
but
Yeah, it's like because that's one thing I haven't tried yet, and maybe I should try. Well, once you try that and the higher courts do dismiss it, then you have all the grounds you need to go for a lawsuit.
well, yeah, if it gets dismissed, that's you gotta it's going to be a battle no matter which way you want to look at it. But because sometimes it works when you file that mandamus and sometimes it doesn't. you know
So it's just better to start. What about a counterclaim? Well, the counterclaim's got to go through the judge anyway, right? Counterclaim probably. I mean, everyone says become the plaintiff, serve a counterclaim, but then you're still in the same jurisdiction at the same venue, and they're not going to honor it. Oh, you might have lost Glenn.
I'm sorry, I had to step aside there for a minute. What was that?
Um, Counterclaims. What do you think about counterclaims?
If you do a counterclaim, you give the court jurisdiction.
It's true. You're still in their same venue. Yeah. I kind of talked myself out of it after I said it.
If
But
you know if you can do that though, and the counterclaim is a good. You got to bring up the right issues, and but you do give the court jurisdiction.
I've
That's
got a I've got a great counterclaim though, because I've proof and an affidavit stating that the prosecutor lied. She lied. So but she wasn't under oath. Not like she's under perjury, but she still lied on the record though.
well, you know, um, you can remind her about her oath of office to the supreme law of the land, and I'd accuse her of perjury. I'd accuse her of she's a bar member. It's an abusive process. You file bar grievances against her.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's again you're dealing with thieves and pirates. That's why I say they're just nothing but thieves and pirates. And
yeah, kind of feel like I should just skip the whole mandamus and just go straight with the claim because I've got evidence.
well, you can see what happens. That's one thing I like about Texas is if I file criminal complaints against them under the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, all you have to do is give it to any magistrate, which means any judge, and they're supposed to issue warrants, and it's not discretionary; it's a ministerial duty, and they never do it, and so then I can get the judge disqualified.
Yeah, but then they say they just bring another one on the case because.
Oh, probably, and then I'll file more criminal complaints, and I'll get him disqualified.
Have you ever had a payout on an invoice?
I don't. I've never had a payout on an invoice. That's why I don't do them anymore. I've filed commercial liens. I filed commercial liens against the IRS, against law firms, against. I filed 5 different commercial liens, and J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, and I think that at least one of them is in that minor estate account. I'll bet you, because what happened is about within a few weeks of me filing a $500 million commercial lien against J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, it came out in the news that they got fined $500 million. so I'll bet it's
wow. That's cool. But mostly you just get them to go away, like cases go away, cases disappear, that kind of thing.
Yeah, they still. Well, that was when they stole my house. But yeah, the people disappear. The cases don't necessarily go away, although they do have a change of they want to do plea bargains and they want to do all sorts of shit. So I got to the point that I just go ahead and sign any plea bargains they want, and I'll just put without prejudice there, and tell them I want a copy, and and they give me a copy. It's no problem, and and I signed plea bargains. I signed bonds without prejudice. No problem. I think by the time I get done with them, they want to make this thing go away, and they're just glad to get that signature on there or something that they can call a signature so they can make it go away. You know what I mean?
They just make it go away, but do they still collect on it though?
Not without prejudice there. That's why.
So it all looks official on the books, right?
That's why they, Glenn Fern, you're Glenn Fern.
Right.
That's why they don't want to talk to me. I kind of like it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I love it just to get it to that point, but to me, it's like in order to start making these people back off, you got to hit them where it hurts.
Yep, that's the only way.
And that's their wallets. That's their wallets. I'm tired of it, Glenn. Like, I mean, I can imagine how long you've been going through it, and I'm pretty sure it's like that's why you always like, don't get me going.
Yep.
But geez, this stuff has got me like, like I'm like, let's just say I'm ready just in case, but damn, that ain't no way to live, man. Damn.
Yep.
And when you try to go out and spread the word to people, they just don't even want to hear it. They ain't even want to hear it. It's like, fuck. So like when the nukes start dropping, it's like, well, you can't get caught up there with them, man. I don't know.
Well, I mean, we're all gonna have to. I think in the Bible it says we have to become warriors, priests and priestesses, and warriors, and we all
Right.
have to be warriors, and that's what we're gonna have to do. And whether we like it or not, and if we're not, then we're gonna get abused till we do become
Right.
warriors. I mean, the reason I'm in this position is because I got abused and I got tired of it, and I said, "Fuck you," right?
Right. Right. That's the reason why a lot of us are here in this circle. And I call it a circle because I mean, relative to the rest of even the US population, let's just say the US, it's relatively small. I've got 70,000 followers on TikTok, but there's 172 million subscribers, as far as the news is saying. Most people don't care about this stuff. Shut up and pay your. I mean, I got some of my good friends giggling at me like when I'm trying to give them something, right? Like not too much, not too sovereign citizen or conspiracy theorist. And he's just like, and he's laughing. I'm like, all right, well, I mean, the last time I ever tried to, you know, say anything to you, or I just gotta either stay by myself or stay in my circle because to me, it's like you're telling us all this stuff that may be going down in the future, and it's like it's gonna hit them, and they're not even see it coming.
Well, you know what they say. There's three kinds of people in the world. There's those
Yeah,
that make things happen. There's those that watch things happen, and there's those that wonder what happened.
right, right,
So, um, you know, if they're just what you got to do is you just got to share it with as many people as you can, and the people that aren't ready for it, you hope that they learn before they pay the ultimate price for their ignorance.
right. Yeah.
That's all you can do.
What George Carlin say, you're born in America, you got that front row seat.
I
And
mean, I think that even Trump, he's trying to do the same thing. And there's stuff that I wrote a book about Trump, and I sent it to him, and he sent me a nice letter back saying thank you for the thoughtful gift, and so I don't know if he read it. I've heard that he's a speed reader, so I don't know, but so I don't know.
yeah, yeah. Like I saw a video the other day, it was a quote unquote conspiracy video. And you know how they have the Hitler salute? There's pictures of all of the presidents doing the Hitler salute, like indirectly, where they act like they're waving. They act like they're waving, but they're actually kind of like faintly doing the Hitler salute. And the whole conspiracy that, Hitler really never died and he escaped to Nicaragua or like South America and flee to Antarctica. I mean, like after going through that court case and after seeing what happened to my pops in the medical industry, like I don't believe anything anymore. You know, that's why like I gotta keep going, trying to find the truth because no one's gonna give it to you. It's not gonna fall in your lap. Seeking, you shall find.
And I'll be the first one to admit that I don't know everything. I
Right.
learn new stuff all the time. It's they keep everything a secret. You know, and there's people out there peddling lies and disinformation, trying to keep everybody confused. That's why I get so upset about these people that are thinking they can take advantage of that minor estate and all that stuff. I think that's like major mistake. You're literally in a contract with the devil. When I was 16 years old, I got a patriarchal blessing, which is kind of like, it's Christian. It's kind of like Abraham gave to his sons. Anyways,
Mhm.
in there it said, unto whom much is given, much is expected. And that's why I tell people about this. But another thing it said is that always be able to discern the good from the evil. And that thing is evil, and I want nothing to do with it. And if you want to participate that, it's a free country. You can just go right ahead. But I am never going to encourage people to participate in that. And and you're in a contract with the devil, literally. And good luck with that. I don't wish anybody any ill will, and good luck with that. That's all I can say.
Yeah, because you see it a lot, and people, there are not very many success stories, I would say, you know, none that you can see. It's all word of mouth. And, just going through it myself and seeing how, like, there's no justice in these courts. It's all kangaroo. And you can see the fact that they're lying. You can see the fact that their responses are made in order to divert, you know? And it's just like, damn, it's like, but then, I've talked to like so many people, and it's all kind of issues that everyone's going through. And like no one has an idea on how to get past these people. Outside of this, like the only thing I've heard is the executor office. But like you say, you're contracting with the devil. Like you're actually agreeing to it. It's like it's if you're gonna do it, man, like you gotta do it at arm's length.
I
If you
just
if you get a trust for the all caps name, or you participate in anything with that, it makes a lot of sense. All of that was, but so like, what about the social, right? So a lot of people are canceling their social security.
can't.
I mean, I can't,
No.
you, but I've heard it turns into a new minute number or something like that after you cancel it.
There's court cases that talk about it. Supreme Court said that you can't cancel it.
It's probably why they don't want to liquidate it.
Well, again, um, any fraud, they have to do something about it. And that's why I bring up the issue of the fraud. It's a fraud, it's a nullity, and I demand that it be dissolved immediately. And it ain't going away. This problem ain't going away. I'm gonna break it off in your fucking ass. You're nothing but a bunch of thieves and Satanists, and um, it's going to get liquidated. I demand that it be liquidated. I'll start sending nasty grams to the Secretary of the Treasury. I mean, there's lots of things you can do that just turn their life into a living hell. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like to me, it's like the Secretary of State's probably a bar card carrying dude as well, though.
Care?
They're all lawyers.
I don't care. I'll file bar grievances against them. I'll turn it into hell. I'll send nasty grams. I'll send nasty grams to them and everybody and their brother. And it ain't over. It's never over till I say it's over. And they're a bunch of thieves and liars, and it ain't over. And you want a piece of me? Just name a date, time, and location. I'll come armed. We'll settle it for once and for all. You lying, perjuring motherfucking son of a bitch, and that kind of stuff. You see what I'm saying?
Hell fucking yeah. That's old school America right there, Glenn.
Well, that's what it's going to come down to. I can just about guarantee you.
Yeah, you're right. It was like one of my last few days on Facebook, I just kept putting on Facebook, where is the gun store? Because y'all gonna need it.
Yeah.
I don't want to spread fear or anything, but Jesus, coming to that point, like it's speaking to so many people, and it's like everything. I mean, you can get in there and get out. However, they're gonna want you to come back in there till that matter's closed. I just want to close the matter, and if I gotta find out like the back way through, commerce in order to get it done through their own rules, though, you know what I mean?
That's why I sign it without prejudice. I'll do a plea bargain without prejudice, no problem. But what you do is you start filing bar grievances against that prosecutor and judicial complaints against the judge, and you just turn it into like all sorts of crap, and make it so they want to make the thing go away, and they'll make it go away. And then when they give you something to sign, you say no problem, and you just put without prejudice there, and they'll be glad it's gone away, and they didn't get paid.
I see. And they didn't get sued.
Well, yeah, right.
They might not get sued.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can file a counterclaim. You can always file a counterclaim if you want to try and sue them. You think you're going to get anything out of them? I've been in the court dozens of times. I've been to the U.S. Supreme Court 5 times. I'm getting ready to go to number 6.
So how did those end?
They end like they always do. The same thing with the Brunsons, okay? With anybody that's like you or me that brings an action to the Supreme Court, is the opponents waive their right to respond. And the case gets accepted, and it gets docketed, and it says right in their rules they don't have to accept any case. And I know people that the cases didn't get accepted, and they don't even get docketed. Well, all of my cases got docketed. I have docketing letters for every one of them. And so then what happens is the Department of So-Called Justice waives their right to respond. And so then they dismiss it. What that does is that admits everything. Okay, so what? We know all about that. And so then they admit everything, and then there's nothing to rule on. And the court case gets dismissed.
Right. So if it gets dismissed in your favor, you can't follow it up with damages. I mean, to me, we got to start hitting them.
Or well, like I said, they're a bunch of thieves and pirates. How many times do I have to say that?
A court case gets dismissed in my favor.
That's why I want that minor estate nipped in the bud. I want that thing gone, and I'm gonna be on them, and we'll see. That's all I can say. I have no idea what's going to happen, but it's going to come. I can tell you right now, it's gonna get really, really ugly. That's all I'm gonna say right here is it's gonna get really, really ugly.
Right. And I put that on my post. It's like, after watching the bank loan video that you did, and there's bank loan classes going all throughout TikTok, people selling bank loan classes. But I mean, why not if people are, not aware to the fact that all bank loans are fraud, right? I mean, what are they going to do when they can't get their securities and they can't get their millions and trillions and billions of dollars to send off for foreign aid and foreign wars and all of that? That fight's probably going to start coming to homeland territories, right?
You bet. I mean, they're bringing it here, right? They're bringing it here. They're bringing it across the border right now by the millions. You got to plan on it.
Got to plan on it. Yeah. I want to build a shelter, far away from my home, or I don't know, because they say all these rich people got bunkers.
I don't think their bunkers are going to help them.
If they can seal them, and you can't tell that mountain is actually an underground tunnel to a dam that's like
they're eventually going to have to come out of there. They can't stand there forever.
I don't know. I
guess we'll see. That's all I can say. But I can tell you that
I don't want to sound crazy, but they say
Clip I said that Bill Gates is going to get assassinated this year. So
what do you think about clones?
Data sets.
So his bunker,
if he gets assassinated, his bunker ain't doing him shit.
Well, if he gets assassinated, my first question is, was that really Bill Gates? Was that a body double? Was it a clone? There's all kind of things. And it's, Bill Gates actually sitting on his uncharted island somewhere where you can't even find him.
Who knows? You never know. I guess at the end of the day, you got to hope that there is a God, and the God is going to sort it all out. You know what I mean?
Right. Like when they killed Osama bin Laden, that was a pacifier. Like we didn't see anything, and not that I wanted to see it, but it was a sham. It was a show.
Of course it
Theater.
was. Of course it was. And Jeffrey Epstein committing suicide. That's a bunch of crap too. He's
Right.
he's in Israel right now, kicking back.
Right. You could tell he looks like he's half like, from that region, like he's Khazarian. You know what I mean?
But
They're all Khazarian, if you ask me.
universe has a way of catching up to all of us. It's called karma. So it all catches up to us sooner or later. It catches up to us. So,
Right. I what damn it. I'm just gonna say it. The movie They Live, right? Like these people, they probably have no soul, right? They they're demons, you know? Like how else could you explain it? Willing to pillage and ruin people's lives. Like I was talking to this one chick and they want to put her in jail for 5 months. It's like her third DUI, right? Never ran into anything, never hit nobody, never, never hurt nobody or anything. But it's her third one. I guess in the area they live in, they pull people over like crazy. And now they want to put her in jail for 5 months, and she's got responsibility that would literally ruin her life. And they don't care. They're just trying to get paid off of her.
yeah, that's why I say they're nothing but thieves, and and it's warfare. Okay, you got to understand it's warfare. If you're not taking it seriously, there was a friend of mine that I recently helped. They wanted to subpoena her to testify, and I helped her file some stuff. And I told her, I said, when we file this stuff, you need to like take a vacation or something and disappear from here for a while because they're going to be pissed. And she didn't. And they went and looked her up, and she didn't know how to deal with it, and they arrested her ass. And so I don't know how much time she spent in their hotel. It was on contempt, and I mean, you never have time to do it right the first time, but you always got time to go to jail.
Yeah, and they'll make sure of that.
So,
Yeah,
these people that just don't take it seriously, then you're going to find out that you should have taken it seriously. This is nothing but warfare. It needs to be number one priority, and you need to take care of business because otherwise they're going to sell you into slavery. And you never have time to do something the first time, but you always got time to go to jail.
and you'll have a lot of time to deal with it there. Yeah. Well, I mean that for the chick that told you has 5 months coming up, she said she signed it without prejudice, right? But now they want her to come back and sign something else, right? And I'm like, just keep signing it without prejudice, and they'll probably just keep kicking it down the hall because I think they really want to put her in jail so they can make some money.
Well, and again, that's when you start filing the felony criminal complaints against them for war crimes, for involuntary servitude, for all of their crimes that they have under their codes. Is she doing that? Probably not.
No, no, I'm gonna go through the lawsuit training that you have.
Well, it's
It's
only
the
one. There's only one video there, and it's only the beginning. I need to have some more, but so there's only one video. There's more videos. I haven't done any more videos. I'm trying to get my head around what to do next, if I do anything next. But the where are you doing the subscription channels? Is that on my website or is that on HowTube?
No, I bought your exclusive content package.
Right, on HowTube or my website?
Oh, I just emailed you and you sent it to me.
Sorry?
I just emailed you and you sent it to me on a disc.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, that's all the videos that I had done up till that point in time. That's not all of them.
I see. Okay, I got you.
I sent you a thumb drive then, didn't I?
It was either a thumb drive or a CD. It was probably a thumb drive because
No,
this is
it'd be
2021.
thumb drive because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So then all the videos subsequent to that are not on there.
Right.
But anyways, um, So at any rate, I wasn't sure if you bought the. Okay, so that's fine. You got all the videos that was all the videos up to that point in time.
Right. That was like 3 years ago. So
Really, that long ago?
2021, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I've done a bunch of videos since then.
Actually, it was 2022. I was living in that apartment. So that was 2022. So it was 2 years ago. But yeah, even still. But I think that's it, though. Like, I think for her, she needs to keep signing without prejudice and to start getting the bar complaints and criminal complaints
Yeah.
and lawsuits ready. How much is it? But every time you file a lawsuit, that costs money, though, doesn't it?
I never pay their filing fee, but it usually gets dismissed because I don't pay the filing fee. I'm not going to pay these whores, so it gets dismissed. Matter of fact, I've had clerks send me letters. You got so many open cases here, we didn't know which one to file this into. When I send a nastygram to the judge, the nastygram starts off. Normally, I say accept your oath of office, but you and me both know you have no intention of honoring your oath of office. So fuck your oath, you lying, perjuring motherfucking son of a bitch. And then the second paragraph says, if you or your pigs want a piece of me, just name a date, time, and location. I'll come armed. We'll settle it for once and for all, you lying, perjuring motherfucking son of a bitch. And then the third paragraph says, I know you'll never take me up on that because you're cowards. You lying, the first thing you want to do is make sure I'm unarmed. You lying, perjuring motherfucking son of a bitch. And then,
That's true.
There's like 20 pages of that, right? Anyways, I send those out to judges, and I sent one out to a federal judge here in Texas. And the clerk sent me back a letter saying, well, you had so many open cases here, we didn't know which one to file it into. So
Wow.
they said just mark the case number on the top, and we'll put it in that case. And if you want to file it into more than one case, then make copies and mark the case number on the top, and we'll put it into whichever case you want us to file it into. Anyways, yeah.
Right, because I'm not exactly, because I'm not going to get all of those affidavits, or notarize or do what I file it in one and then just copy it to all the rest of them.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's what I did.
Yeah. And
so, anyways, I think that we need to wrap this up, though. It's getting kind of late. It's almost 7:00 here, Central Time. And
yeah, we said 2 hours. We're right there, so it's been great, man.
It's a journey, nobody knows everything. It's one step at a time. Things are going to get really, really ugly here real soon. I'm thinking, I don't know, 107 thinks it's going to be pretty quiet until like July or something like that, July or August. And so maybe it will be. I guess we'll see. But the Democratic National Convention is going to be in Chicago. I think that's going to be in July, around the middle of July. And Cliff High actually has emotional indicators that go up like a huge amount on around the 16th, I think, 16th of July. Anyways, which maybe that's when that Democratic National Convention is. I don't know. Anyways, so we'll see. We're a captive audience. We get to see whether we like it or not. It's all you can do. You know what I mean?
I hear you. Well, so I mean, if you want to go live again, man, like I want to see if I can draw a larger audience next time.
Well, did you want to do this? I thought you were wanting to do this every week. Now,
yeah, I'm down if you are.
Fridays, I'm game to do it every week, but Friday nights after 9:00, I have something else going on. And so we'd have to do it either before that, and I have to be off by 9, or we'd have to do it another night.
Hey, just let me know whenever you're free.
Well, we need to, whatever you want to do it, we need to do it. We need some advance notice so I can notify Correct. YouTube and all the rest of it. So,
Correct.
Okay. Well, we could do it Saturday, or we could do it Sunday.
We could do it Sundays.
Yeah. You want to do it again? You want to do it again in a week?
Let's do it again in a week. I'm gonna have a lot more ready for you by then too.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Sounds good. See you in a week.
Cool, man. Thank you. Hey, thank everybody for joining too.
Same time, same place, same channel.
There you go. Unless they come get me.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you get up
All
in
right.
their face enough, and they're going to want to avoid you.
Well, I mean, how if they're not honoring, they're not even honoring the criminal complaints or the lawsuits. Like I want to hit them where it hurts.
I guarantee you that they see that stuff. I guarantee you they do. There's I filed a bunch of bar grievances, and they all got blown off. So then I filed criminal complaints against every member of the Supreme Court of Texas for hindering prosecution. And they had a John Birch Society meeting here in DFW area at this Spring Creek barbecue, and a member of the Supreme Court was running for re-election. His name was John Philip Devine. I figured with a name like that, he's got to be a Jesuit. You know what I mean? Anyways, so what happened is he was the speaker. And so I was asking him some very pointed questions. He's a really nice guy. He's actually spent time in their jail. He was involved in abortion demonstrations, and they told him, look, all you have to do is agree to stop doing it, and we'll drop everything, and everything will go back just fine. And he couldn't. He spent time in jail because of it, and because he couldn't agree to stop because it was a morally issue for him. And so
Right.
he's a really nice guy. Anyways, I started asking him some very pointed questions. He looks at me and he says, I think I know who you are. But the point is that they get that stuff. I guarantee you they get that stuff, and it's going to have an effect. They can sit there and claim plausible deniability until you complain. And then once you do, everything changes. That's why everything changes. Now, it might not be real obvious, okay? It might be subtle, but I guarantee you they're getting that thing. And once you serve them with it, or once they've gotten it, then and you complaining about it again, the FBI went and got it to them. And if you complaining about it again, now they cannot claim plausible deniability anymore. They might get their ass arrested. So, and they know it. And so I guarantee you that they get notified, and things will change. Okay, I guarantee you. Anyways,
Not only that, if more people start hitting them, things will change. But not enough people are hitting them.
That's right. Most people are brain dead idiots, and they don't care, and they just cave right into them, and that's why they're doing the shit they're doing. If people wake up and put a stop to it, it'll stop. I guarantee you. Anyways,
let me say, I'll end you with this. Like, the police came to my house for a family member, okay, trying to serve. I tell the family member that they still don't care, and I'm just like, okay, I mean, of course, it's for a debt that there is no debt, so I'm not really worried about it either. But the same, like, they came to the house, man.
Yep.
You got to at least respond to these people. You have to at least respond.
If he don't care, then he hasn't been abused enough. So you just kind of wish him the best of luck, and when you do care, let me know. I'll help you out.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
That's all you can do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's all you can do. Anyways, thanks a lot. Have a good one.
You too. Love, man. God bless.
Take care.
God increase. Yes, sir. Love. All right.